Hey guys, how you doing? Gavin Timms with REI Network. Welcome back. On this episode, I've got someone really awesome joining me. And this is unique. This is something that I've not really heard about before, someone doing. And I talk a lot about, how to monetize your dead leads. And that's normally through creative finance, okay, including, lease options and things like that. But my guest today is doing things a little different, and I'm super excited to share everything, or for him to share everything with us. I've known him for a couple of years now. We're in masterminds together. Great guy, massive go giver and go getter. So here he is. Let me bring him over. I am with Chris Craddock. Chris, how are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here with you, brother. It's so fun to be on a podcast with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm excited because we teach a lot and do a lot of creative deals, and we teach a lot on lease options, and again, one of our kind of things is to monetize your dead leads, right? There's no such thing as a dead lead unless it's just sold or someone's like threatening to kill you or something, and even then, it's just a time thing. So it's pretty interesting. Before we jump into the strategy that you're getting, not only great results in your business and for other people, but let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, it's the first time you've been on with me on this show. So tell us a little about Chris. Like, give us a background, a few minutes on kind of how you got into the game, what are you doing, and then we'll build into it.
Yeah, so I got into real estate in 2000. I graduated from college. My wife got pregnant in 2003. I was on staff with an organization called Young Life, where I loved it, but I made like $20,000 a year, so it's hard to live on that. And so I started flipping houses in the early 2000s, made 12 times what I made in a year, and was able to kind of live on that. I always led large teams in ministry, and so I continued doing ministry. And I guess with, I just kept having more and more kids. And as I end up having 6 kids, the money runs out real fast. And so I started flipping houses again in like 2011, I believe. During that time, I'd gone back to school. I'd gotten a doctorate in leadership, again, because I love team building, right? I love helping other people succeed. And started flipping. At that time, it was short sales. And so I got a real estate license because the bank was paying a commission. If you flipped a short sale, if you bought a short sale, they'd pay a commission. And if you didn't have a license, they wouldn't pay it. So I got a real estate license. And during that time, somebody had given me a book, Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And I read it. And because I love large teams, I was like, man, I see how I could get to a net of 7 figures pretty simply, not easily, but a simple path. Through retail. And so we started running that business, and we were really tracking to do really well. We got to that number, but about halfway through, between starting and where we are now, I realized that investors were doing their thing and agents were doing their thing, and I'd lived in both worlds. And I was like, man, there is so much money on the table if we just bring them together. And so that's where it is now. It's allowed me to personally, I'm able to live a life of freedom. I know, Gavin, you're my RV friend that travels around the world and all around the country, has freedom here. For me, I'm at our lake house, so I'm enjoying this like awesome view and able to hang with the kids and everything else. When I'm not working here, so it's just been an awesome journey. So fun, and being able to meet and hang out with great friends like you along the way.
No, that's amazing. No, that's great. And it is what it's all about, right? You've got a lot of kids, a lot of kids. But it's good because you're at the lake house. That's where I'm heading as I'm recording this. I'm out to Michigan. We're leaving the RV. We're going up to the lake house and then up to the UP. We're going to be gone for about a month to 5 weeks. So yeah, I get it. And that's what life's all about. And I guess then these strategies that you're doing, you've made a lot of money on the real estate side as a broker. You're in DC, right? That's kind of that's where you're located normally.
Yeah, DC, Virginia, Maryland is kind of where my team resides. And then I've got an expansion team in Baltimore and an expansion team in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
And I've got 9 other businesses that all are synergistic to my retail team as well. Fix and flip. I got a rental portfolio, title, mortgage, insurance, construction, legal. Like there's all these different businesses that are all kind of synergistic to that as well.
Yeah, smart. Utilizing all the arms of real estate, right? To bring back into your own business. So that's great. Um, okay, so I think we spoke for just a quick minute before we jumped on here, but I think one of the main things is, or what I think I'm calling this episode, right, is how to make money by partnering with realtors. So tell us how you're monetizing these dead leads. What does that look like? What are you doing? Just educate people listening to give them some takeaways on how this works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I talked to friend after friend after friend. Actually, a friend of ours who is in a mastermind together with us. He lives up in Michigan, does about 40 wholesale deals a month, and we were at a meetup in the back of an Uber, and we were just talking, and he was like, "Man, it's crazy. So you're really monetizing these leads at a high level." He's like, "I send 20, 30, 40 leads to realtors every month," and he's like, "I'm more shocked when I get a referral fee, a referral payment, than when I don't." He's like, "I never get paid on those things. It's like never." And so I talked to so many friends that they just don't make any money on that because they've tried it. It's just not working well. Actually, the group that I kind of built this program with was they'd been trying it for years and years. They started their own brokerage. They did all of these different pieces, all these different things, and they just kept losing money on it. And so then, I mean, I just like the crazy thing was I'm like, I know I can monetize these leads. I came from this world. And so it was funny. I believe persistence breaks resistance, right? So I called them over and over and over again. I'm like, just send me some of those dead leads that you're not doing anything with. And they're like, we got a girl. She's a top KW agent. Like we sent her 1,000 leads and she's closed like 6 of them in the last 6 months. He's like, it's just not worth our time. And I'm like, well, then send me some. Let's work it. So finally they sent me 150 leads. 70 of them had been closed with somebody else. 30 of them were out of area. So I had about 40 leads that were that was left from there. And I'm like, well, if this other girl did out of 1,000 close 6 deals and sent referral fees, I got to close 6 with these 40. So I did everything I could to build it out where the sellers wanted to work with me. And so I kind of created a system. I closed 6. I called them up and they're like, wait, you closed 6? Like, Chris, we liked you. We didn't want to just tell you to leave us alone. So I told the guy, I was like, hey, give him 150 leads from like 5 years ago so that he'll stop bugging us. And he's
That's
like,
amazing.
that's 6 deals from 5 years old. And so I was like, yeah. And so then since then, we built this out to a system. And that group alone, I mean, literally, we're paying them to send them about $750,000 this year. So it's crazy.
Wow.
For leads that they've just been throwing away. $750,000. I don't care how big your organization is. That's a year changer.
Yeah. And what's your criteria then? If literally it didn't fit a wholesale deal. So are you talking as you talk to us as marketers? Are you saying this is like what you're doing is with wholesalers, right? So if I was just a wholesaler doing cash deals, right, that's what I'm marketing for. And then I get sellers that want more money or they owe too much money or whatever. They're the kind of leads that you're working.
Absolutely. So here's the deal. Let's say you send out, let's just say direct mail, just for ease sake, right? You send out a ton of direct mail. You get 20 people that raise their hand and say, I will sell, right? Of the 20 people that raise their hand, 16 of them probably want somewhere between 97 and 105% on the dollar, right? And then there's 4 of them that will say, okay, I'll sell for 65 to 75 to 80 cents on the dollar, whatever your wholesale number is. So there's 4 in there. And of the 4, you're probably going to lock up 1, right? That's at least the numbers that I'm ballpark seeing with people across the country, right? You get 20 people, you get about a deal. And so with that, what happens with the other 19? Somebody is going to get paid on that. Another real estate agent, some investor that's going to pay way more than you're paying. Somebody's getting paid. It's just not you. Right. So that's why this whole upside down wholesaling just makes so much sense, because you no longer have to do anything. You realize that it's not in your buy box. You realize that they want to sell, but you're not going to be able to do it. You're just able to get that agent. And again, picking the right agent is so important that you've partnered with, and you set that appointment for that agent. That agent just goes out and, man, they close it up. You get your referral fee and everybody wins. The agent makes a lot of money and they do well, because for an agent, a retail business, Listings are so powerful for a, for an investor. I mean, that's just money that's sitting there dead. Like I told you, there's 60 grand a month that's going to that one group that literally was sitting there dead. I've got new wholesalers that they're making more money on this than they are in their wholesaling business. So it's just like, you've got found money there that just increases your margin. How does that change a business if all of a sudden you've got an extra 5 or 10K a month that you can spend on marketing? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's huge. So what makes it different in terms of, and you don't have to go into like the nitty gritty, but what makes it different? Because you just said, when you were doing this and someone was sending these leads to a top agent and it took 1,000, they got 6 closed, and you were able to do 6 out of 150 given to you. So is that though your work ethic, or is that something that you are seeing different to what that other agent would be doing, just as the way, are you going about it in a different way? Like, what would the difference be? So someone's listening going, well, it's all down to the agent. You're saying it is, obviously, because it's your agent's critical, but there must be more to it than that.
Yeah, so picking the right agent is huge, and then finding the right scripting is also huge. And so for me, and I'm happy to share a bunch of this stuff with you, but that's why I created this program. So for me personally, I put my money where my mouth is, right? I spend over $100,000 a year on personal development because I believe paying for speed. If somebody knows the path, there's so much money to be made here that it's worth telling somebody, hey, step here, do this, use this script, because every month that you don't, you leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table. So that's the whole deal. So for me, I'll jump in and I'm happy to share everything as much as I can. I know we've only got a couple minutes here, but I'm happy to share as much as I can because I do know that there's just so much to it that if you do it right, there's so much money to be made. Well, here's the deal. One, you pick the right agent, right? And what is it you're looking for in an agent? Somebody that's happy, hungry, humble, and smart, right? If they're not happy, they're going to be mad because you're asking for a big referral fee in a matter of time. If they're not hungry, they're going to work. You said work ethic. That's a huge thing. If they're, if they do well, you do well. You're literally attaching your ship to theirs. And if they close 100 deals, you're going to make a fortune. If they close one deal, you're going to make no money. So you got to find somebody that is hungry. Actually, there's a friend of both of ours who had an agent who was like one of his like best buds who got licensed. And he's like, oh, this guy's going to make a fortune. I'm going to do this program with this guy. And I'm like, what did he do last year? And he's like, well, he decided to take a year off because of COVID. And I was like, that doesn't sound like he's going to be hungry, man. I don't see a world in which I take a year off. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Even when I'm working hard, like I really, really enjoy working, even when I want to break, I like working. So if they're not hungry, they're not going to be your guy or girl. Hungry, humble, happy, hungry, humble. Here's the other thing. A lot of times people confuse confidence with humility, right? You need somebody that's massively confident. One of my favorite books is The Way of the Wolf. I don't know that I love Jordan Belfort as far as like what he did as a human. You watch The Way of the Wolf and you're like, I don't know that that's what I want, but he's a darn good salesperson. I'll tell you that much. And he talks about like the straight line selling and that certainty scale. Like when somebody's confident, they're certain, but that doesn't mean just because you're confident, you're not humble, right? So for me, I literally put myself at the feet of so many coaches. I spend so much money on coaches and mentors and masterminds because I want to learn from people, right? Gavin, the first interaction you and I had was, our friend Chris Arnold said, hey, you should talk to Gavin. He does, virtual wholesaling, and he's really, really, really good at that. And you should just talk to him and see what he's all about. And I was like, man, sounds awesome. He talked you up like crazy. And so I still remember giving you a call. I was on 66 and massive traffic. And I was like,
I do remember.
Yeah. And, we just started talking and I was just picking your brain on what you do and how you do it. And I was like, man, yeah, Gavin's a smart dude. I'm glad I can call him my friend now. And so like, are people humble enough to call people and just say, hey, what are you all about? How can I learn from you? How can I do this better? And then smart is, one is being smart there, but two is also being a quick learner. One of my favorite books is called The Art of Learning. And the whole idea is if you can learn fast, then you can be world class, right? So Tony Robbins refers to it as compressing decades into days, right? Who can show you the path to move faster? And then Keith Cunningham, who was the Rich Dad and Rich Dad Poor Dad, wrote a book called The Road Less Stupid. So that whole idea is like, we don't want to pay the stupid tax, right? Let's learn from other people. Let's learn from ourselves and not make the same mistakes over and over again, because it costs us a lot of money.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't agree with you more, especially, you know, with the coaching, the education, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. If you're not being mentored by people, then your ego's in the way, because there's always growth. There's always someone out there that knows more than you in certain areas. I mean, we even had conversations, you know, a year or two back. I don't know if you remember this, regarding listings, right, from flips. And you were telling me little tactics of, you know, say, hey, we're doing, you know, we're going to make a decision on Monday, taking the top 3, and then going back saying, is this your final and best? You've made it to the top 3. And all of a sudden you can get a spurt of 5-10 grand more just immediately. And that's what now we implement, right? So I'm not on the retail side. I'm not licensed. So I don't see that. I don't know really how it all works. And, you know, them little things. And that's why we're in masterminds. That's why we have coaches. That's why we network with the people that we network with, is because we're always learning, right? And I'm like you. I want to go, and obviously when I go into a mastermind or into an event, I'm there to give as much as I can, but also then it always comes back to you, and you're always going to pick up a couple of nuggets, you know, that you need. So I think coaching's huge, and that cutting that time down is massive.
And here's something that's so crazy. Like, you know, I shared with you just kind of our best practices to make more money. Just before that, I had shared that with another guy who was, you know, anyway, somebody had introduced us, and I was like, hey, you know, you really should implement this negotiating system. And he's like, yeah, no, we got it down. And I asked him what he does, and I know he's losing tons of money. And I was just like, man, why wouldn't I mean, there's just not a world in which I talk to people and they have something great to say, and I'm not like trying to learn how to be better. And so, I think that's one of the reasons why you and I are buds, because, you know, we're both trying to constantly get better, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And everyone should be listening to this, right? And people say there's more than one way to invest. There's more than one way to market. There's more than one way to run a business or have a conversation, in the way that you position yourself and present yourself, and in terms of being at the closing. And it comes down to opinions and personalities. But you're exactly right. If you can tweak off people, you're only going to grow. You can't get worse, right? Can't get any worse. It can only get better. So that's really good. So, you know, with this then, so obviously, you know, the right agent, obviously the scripts that you use, and getting that, you know, communication. And you've been seeing in your business, like you said, about $250,000 you're going to be giving to one person. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Oh, no, this one person in my personal business, $750,000. $750,000.
Wow.
Crazy number. And that's
insane.
They're not really doing much that's different, like almost at all. It takes so little change. They're really not doing much that's different. And they're just monetizing these leads that have been sitting there dead in their database and making $750,000 more. Like, it's crazy how much money people are leaving on the table, and they don't even know it. That's nutty.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So, okay, so you're doing that, and then with your businesses that we talked about, or you were mentioning at the start, I know people are gonna. I'm asking this for 2 reasons. One, it's selfish reason. That's why I like doing these. And 2, I know other people are going to be, you know, asking the same thing. Obviously, you have arms of the business, right? And this is just one. Now you're teaching people how to do this strategy. And these other arms, how are you doing that? Do you have like someone that's running all businesses? Do you have like one person running each business? Are you taking the partnership route? Like, how does that kind of look?
Yeah, so I chose to go the partnership route. I used to be with Keller Williams. I still think Gary Keller and the Zillow people are probably 2 of the smartest people in the whole industry, right? Like, everywhere. And one of the things, I was personally mentored by Gary for a while, and one of the things that he said was, you can have as many businesses as you want, as long as each business has a manila folder, right? And on that folder is everything with the business, and there's somebody's face on the front of that folder that owns that business. And that face cannot be your face, right?
Yeah.
So that's that whole idea. So each of my businesses has a face that's not my face. And so except my retail business, that is still my face. And I'm working very, very hard. I've made some key hires to put other faces in there. That's not my face. So that's really, really the key there. And that's how we've really grown the other businesses a lot.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, that's again my model. So I know that I'm on track because I do the same thing. Because the more people you have, if you don't have partners that own it, then you're getting busier, right? And you're not at the lake, right? If you were running 9 businesses, you're not at the lake. I think we can all agree on that.
Not at all.
Yeah, you sleep at the office if you're running 9 businesses.
Right.
Okay, no, that's awesome. So how do people then get in touch with you? How do they follow you?
Yeah, so if you're interested in the Revive program, you can just go to wholesalinginc.com/revive, and we can dive in and see whether your business is a good fit for this. That's one of the easiest ways. If you want to personally get in touch with me, this is one thing that I still do. I haven't outsourced to a VA. I may at some point. So if you watch this 3 years down the road, you may not get me, but for now, I'm trying to give back the way people gave to me. And so I personally am answering any DMs on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is @Cradd, CRADDROCK, @Cradrock, an old high school nickname, cheesy. And, I probably should have changed it a long time ago, but it is what it is.
It's you.
So come on, baby. So @Cradrock, I'll work hard to reply to any DM. But yeah, if you go to the wholesalinginc.com/revive, either me or somebody from our team will dive in and see if it's your business is a good fit. But I'll tell you, I think if you are bringing in leads and you are not monetizing those leads at a high level, I think it's a good fit. And I'll tell you, if you're like a lot of people I've talked to, everybody's like, oh, I can just figure this out. You probably can, but if it takes you 4 years to get where you could get next month, then like you're costing yourself tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the question I ask myself, the reason why I pay 6 figures a year in education, Gavin, I'm curious, what would you, if you could take everything you know now, put it in a pill and give it to yourself 6 years ago, how much would you pay for that pill so that you could basically know everything you know today 6 years ago? What would that pill be worth?
I don't think you could put an amount on it because it'd be stupid. It really would. It'd be a big amount.
Somebody said, would you pay $1 million? I was like,
yeah,
in a heartbeat. I was like,
yeah.
2, probably.
Yeah.
3, maybe 5. I don't know. It's
no, you're right. No, yeah. But I think that comes down to, though, again, I come from a coaching background. So, I've when I got into the business, and I talk about this, and people that do follow me know this, is that I'm not the person that's bought the courses. I'm not the person that read all the books, right? I'm the guy that just went straight into coaching, just learn the right way. That's just me, though, because I'm all about taking massive action, shorten the learning curve. If I can get there faster by someone that's already doing it, sign me up. I'm ready to go. And then people will develop, right? And as they go through their journey, and you've always got changing mentors. You're already always adding mentors as you go and go through your career and grow. So that's really good. So guys, make sure you go and check that out. Go and follow Chris. DM if you have any questions on this. And it was really unique because it's kind of a catch line. No dead lead left behind. That's what we talk about. That's kind of our phrase. And no dead leads left behind. And you're doing the same thing, but in a different way by utilizing realtors as wholesalers. You're already spending the money. So if you can get key agent in place, and obviously there's more to it than that, with the right scripts for them to be giving you referrals, then obviously you might be able to turn an extra 10,000 a month, 100,000 a year, 200, 300, 400, 500 plus thousand a year, depending on how many you can be sending over to the right person. And it's just like anything else. You're only as good as your team. That's not just on a realtor. That's anyone in your whole team. From VAs, it doesn't matter. You're only as good as your team. So no, really, really good. Chris, one last question. What would you tell, and you asked me this, but I want to ask you, for anyone listening, any new people, anyone that is, stuck, what would you tell yourself or tell someone now, someone new or someone that's stuck? What would your advice be to them?
If you're stuck, your business grows to the extent you grow, right? So it means that you're stuck because you need new information, but more than new information, I would say a new relationship in your life. And so for me, when I feel stuck, I join a new mastermind. I do something where I get people that are really smart around me so that I can learn from other people that are really smart. People I like their vibe, people that I think are just really massively good at what they do. And so I work hard to get new relationships in my life, because that is the number one key. They say, imitate then innovate, right? Get people that you really think are really smart so that you can do what they're doing and then learn to think like they think.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So basically what you're saying, I called this business REI Network for a reason. Networking is what it's all about. Get yourself around like-minded people. You don't, and this is, I'm going to put it, I don't know how else to put it. You can't listen to broke people, right? And that's not me disrespecting, but you never take advice off a broke person, okay? You need to take advice off people that are winners, that are positive, that want better, that are trying to do better, not listening to your neighbor that stuck a bandit sign out and couldn't do a deal, right? And it doesn't work. So there we are. So Chris, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me and giving us some gold here. And guys, if you are interested in working with me, okay, go to reinetwork.com/join, reinetwork.com/join. We'll get on the phone, see if you're a good fit for what's going on, or I can see if I can point you in the right direction and any help that you need. So Chris, thank you so much, bud, and I will see you soon.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, bud. Bye-bye.